Everyone, my audience member is going to be my mom, and these are my notes. Imagine walking inside classroom and finding out that some of the programs students depend on are no longer available. For some students, that can mean losing access to financial aid that helps them attend college. For others, it can mean having fewer protections when facing discrimination or fewer resources to support their education. Many people do not realize how connected the Department of Education is to their everyday lives because it does not control what teachers say in classrooms or what students learn. Instead, it works behind the scenes to support millions of students, families, and schools across the country. Removing this department would not simply remove a government office, it could change how students receive support and protection throughout their education. Today, I will be discussing why the Department of Education should remain part of the United States government. First, I will discuss the problem and explain how eliminating the Department of Education could affect students through changes to financial aid, civil rights protections, and educational support programs. Second, I will explain the cause of this issue by looking at the history of the Department of Education and the political debate surrounding the federal government's role in education. Finally, I will present a solution by explaining what action citizens can take and who they can contact to help protect the Department of Education. The problem with eliminating the Department of Education is that millions of students depend on programs and protections that are currently managed at the federal level. First, the Department of Education plays a major role in helping students afford higher education. Many college students rely on federal financial aid, including Pell Grants, federal student loans, and the FAFSA application system. Without these programs, many students would struggle to afford college. According to the Federal Student Aid Office, within the U.S. Department of Education Access in 2026, the federal government provides financial assistance to millions of students each year to help them continue their education. Second, the Department of Education protects students' rights through the Office for Civil Rights. This office investigates discrimination complaints and helps make sure students have equal access to education. It also supports students with disabilities by enforcing laws that require schools to provide necessary services. According to the U.S. Department of Education's Office for Civil Rights, Access in 2026, the department works to protect students from discrimination in education. According to the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Special Education Programs, Access in 2026 also, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act provides federal support to help states and schools meet the educational needs of students with disabilities. The cause of this issue comes from a long debate about the role of the federal government in education. Some people believe education decisions should mainly be controlled by states because local communities understand their students better. Others believe the federal government needs to stay involved to make sure students across the country have equal opportunities. According to the Congressional Research Service in a report published in 2025, the federal government has historically influenced education through funding programs, research, and civil rights protection, while leaving most schools' decisions to states and local districts. The Department of Education was created in 1979 to organize federal education programs and provide support to students and schools. Its purpose was not to control classrooms, but to manage resources, enforce protections, and collect information about education. According to the U.S. Department of Education's official history page, the department was created in 1979 to strengthen the federal commitment to education and improve the management of federal education programs. Over time, disagreements about government spending and federal government have increased calls to eliminate the department. However, supporters argue that removing it can make it harder to provide consistent support and protections for students nationwide. The solution is to keep the Department of Education while continuing to improve how it operates. The department provides important services involving financial aid, civil rights protections, disability support, and education research. Instead of removing the department completely, leaders should focus on making improvements while keeping the programs that students depend on. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, in its Condition of Education report published in 2025, national education data helps leaders understand students' needs and make decisions about improving schools. Now that we understand why the Department of Education is important, it is time to take action. If you believe the Department of Education should remain part of the U.S. government, contact your members of Congress and encourage them to protect the programs that support students. Your local U.S. representative and California's U.S. senators have the ability to influence decisions about federal agencies. By contacting elected officials, citizens can make their opinions heard and participate in the political process. According to Congress.gov, as in 2026, citizens have the ability to contact their elected representatives and participate in the legislative process by sharing their opinions on important government decisions. To summarize, first we discussed how eliminating the Department of Education could affect students through changes to financial aid and protections. Second, we discussed the history of the department and the debate over federal involvement in education. Finally, we learned that citizens can take action by contacting Congress and supporting the continuation of the Department of Education. In conclusion, education is one of the most important foundations of our society. The Department of Education does not control every classroom, but it provides support that helps students receive opportunities to succeed. Although people may disagree about the role of the federal government, the future education affects everyone. By staying informed and making our voices heard, we can help protect opportunities for students across the country. Thank you.